This is the video on how to add objects, furnishings, and materials to a 1/2 inch equals 1 foot floor plan. So if you're using a grid that we've used in previous exercises, 2 spaces equal 1 foot. If you're using a scale, you can use an architectural scale, or any scale for that matter, and a 1/2 inch represents 1 foot. So whether you're using just a standard scale and you want to use, every inch equals 2 feet, or if you want to use a 1/2 inch scale where every 1/2 inch space equals 1 foot. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add your furniture to the floor plan. If you don't have a floor plan, you'll want to get one printed. You can draw directly on top of the handout, or you can put a piece of tracing paper, which is what we would normally do in class, over the printout. So this is a drawing at a 1/2 inch scale again. So you're going to want to place in the furniture, and your furniture, I'm just going to give you some general dimensions, and they are posted under the module. So you were given this handout, as well as this is in the lecture. So what you have here on the right is just a perspective of what the room will look like. So by the end of the semester, we will have drawn the floor plan, we will have drawn elevations, and eventually we will draw this perspective drawing. So this is just an idea of where we're going. This is an actual CAD drawing. And on the left are just the standard dimensions. So I think in the printout, I didn't add that a queen mattress is 60 by 80, plus any of the bed frame that you might want to put in the drawing. So you have your general dimensions here. So our goal is to move from a blank floor plan that an architect might give a designer to actually adding furnishings within. So basically we have a rectangle footprint of a hotel room. You walk in from the left. On the left there's a bathroom. You come in and then you have the bedroom space, the sleeping area that has a desk, a dresser, probably a little TV on top if it's a hotel room, and a chair. So sleeping area is going to have 2 nightstands, and over to the left is a small drink bar. So all those dimensions are given to you again in that handout that I just showed you. So what you're going to want to do is, for example, if this drink bar is 24 inches deep, you're going to want to take either your grid and draw out 2 feet across. Excuse me. So if you can see here, 0, 1, 2. So you're going to go 0, 1, 2 across, and then you're going to bring that down to the edge. Same is true for your bed. So there's instructions posted online step by step, but I'm just kind of going through some of these. The next is your 60-inch wide, which is 5 feet, by 80 inches long, which is just under 7 feet. You're going to draw your bed. And what I did is I drew in the drink bar first, and then I found the halfway point so that I can center the bed on that wall. So you always want to think about spacing as an interior designer. So I drew in the bar from the edge of the drink bar to this wall. I found the halfway point, and then I drew in the 5 foot wide bed. So when I found the center point, I did 2.5 feet to the left and 2.5 feet to the right, which equals 5 feet or 60 inches. So I drew in that first, and then I came down my 80 inches. Next, I left about a 6-inch spacing between the nightstands Your nightstands are 30 inches wide. So 2 feet is 24 inches, and 2 feet 6 inches is 30. So you're going to go 2 feet, 1, 2, plus 6 inches. So again, 1, 2, 2 feet, 6 inches. So if you were using a grid in a 1/2 inch scale, you would go over 10 spaces, right? 10 spaces. So in a 1/4 inch scale, every space is a foot. In a 1/2 inch scale, when you're using your grid, every 2 spaces represents a foot. So if this is 5 feet across, then you're going to go 10 spaces across here. So I drew the bed, the nightstands. I added an area rug under the bed. So your area rug is at 72 inches or 6 feet by 9 feet across or 108 inches. So that's a 6 by 9 area rug. That's a average size for an area rug. 6 by 9, 8 by 10, 11 by 20 or 11 by 17. So we have a standard size area rug placed nicely underneath the bed. I then moved in and added the desk, the dresser, an 18 by 18 inch desk chair, 2 18 by 18 inch bar stools. And then for the sake of time, I'm going to put in some lines for wood flooring. I have these spaced every foot. So now planks of wood are not that wide. So if this wasn't, a quick demonstration that needs to stay under an hour, I would have gone ahead and done 6-inch spacings for my wood. And so 6-inch planks are nice planks of wood. But for the sake of demonstration, again, these are 12-inch spacings, and I drew my construction lines across. Next is the bathroom. So a standard bathtub is 5 feet. So I drew in a line to represent the bathtub and then some construction lines for where the tub sinks in. Here we have a small loo, little water closet or water toilet space. And then we have a long vanity with 2 different sinks. So you could push those closer together if you wanted to. That's just where I put them for this exercise. And then this is the closet. So that should give you an idea of what you're looking at. So for the sake of time, I went in and I did my construction lines. And for the sake of time, I determined that 45-degree light source. So the light is coming in this way. So you should complete the last activity before you actually move to doing your own. So I went in with a 30 marker, and I went in and gave some shadow to the walls. I did that reverse L on all of the furniture, plants. This is on an angle. So you can always draw this on your scale that you have and then just trace it in here if you want to put it on an angle. This is on a 45-degree angle, so I was able to keep everything nice and plumb. So just a couple of things that you're looking at. I'm using the 30-inch Prismacolor. I'm using the chisel side of the marker. For this exercise, I actually did use the nose instead of that wide edge. Again, my aesthetic is a little lighter than most. This is just an example of how I illustrate. Yours might be much more bolder, and so maybe if you are finding that you have a heavy hand, and I should even call it a heavy hand, but more of a bold hand, then you're gonna maybe wanna pump this up to like a 5. Okay, so a 5. But for here, this is a 30. You can use your cardboard straight edge, or if you have a clear triangle, that works well too. So quick tip, in this exercise, I'm gonna leave the perimeter of the wall white. That's for the sake of time and just for a different effect. So I'm not hatching this in or coloring it in with a black Sharpie. But again, if you have a stronger aesthetic, you're gonna want to probably black that in with a black marker and then shadow with a gray. So again, my lighter look, I'm gonna go ahead and just show you how I went and applied the marker. I placed the triangle in my hand, get my knuckles, put that on the paper, and then I'm pressing down on the paper with the triangle. So key point here is that you want to protect the white. So notice that I'm not doing the marker this way. I'm allowing the straight edge to protect the white of the page. So again, I'm allowing a straight edge to protect the white of the page. So I want to keep this nice and clean and white. So I'm pressing down pretty hard on my paper, and then I'm quickly adding that. So a couple things that you that are new that we haven't done yet is that we have where the bowls are undermount and where the tub recesses. So if in fact there was a light source coming in, to indicate that that bowl and that tub goes down, you can do something like this that indicates that it's a recess. So again, I went around the walls first, then I did the easy L shape shadows. Made sure that I got just, those little shadows that would be behind the dresser and the desk. I made sure that I'm kind of thinking about where I want to put a couple of trees. I put a little shadow behind the doors. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some clothing, I believe, into the closet. So that's the first step. And the next step will be to take your ultra fine and maybe add some details to the drawing. So how I did this in the exercise was quite simple. I went and found a rug that I liked. I scaled it on my computer to kind of fit in that space, and I just traced over that. Or you can find something in a magazine, put that underneath your drawing. Or you can just put, some dabbling for texture. So I'm just going to start with using my ultra fine pen, and I'm then going to define the edges. I'm then going to go through with my Papermate Flare and then do some punch lines. So this would be a good time for you to, if you want to scroll forward, you can. If you want to watch the whole thing, if you want to do this step by step, maybe stop and go the video. I want to protect the white of the page. So I'm going to go in and go with my hit, go hit, hit, go hit. So I'm going to go through and just draw in, and this is going to be quickly. I'm going to just go through and draw my vertical lines and then my horizontal lines, and then I'll go in and do a little bit of detail for you. But I find so that I'm not constantly rotating my page for your video. I'm just going to go through and do all the vertical lines, and then I'll turn it around and throw in those horizontal lines. You don't have to do it this way. It's just so that we don't have that dizzy And doing the shading first also helps me, who's kind of my eyes are getting weakened, just to see my drawing a little better. So remember some of our lessons that we learned, that you don't have to go perfectly edge to edge, that you can cross over edges. Right, so I'm just kind of doing that nice subtle crossing over. And maybe I do want an indication of a bit of a headboard, so let's see how if I can still fit that in. So if you wanted to leave a headboard, I would probably just pull this up just slightly, your bed, so that you can put a bit of an indication that there's a headboard, like I did here. So just take a look how the back of the nightstands line up, the fronts of the nightstands line up. We have that foundation for our bed, and then I can do some more free lines in here. I have the outline of the bed. I'm going to put a turn down at the foot of the bed. And now how I'm just going through and adding those horizontal lines. I have a little oval template here. You don't need to do that. You can do this freehand. I think I use these for you can use a circle template for your trees, for your lamps. And you can use this for the arc. So you can measure, if this is 18 inches, you can come down 9 inches to find the center line. If this is 30 inches across, you can find 15 inches to find like the center to place your lamp. I didn't do it that way, so for the sake of time, you can see I have a small X there. For the sake of time, I usually just put an X through objects, and where the X crosses is the center of any object. We'll do that a lot as we get into perspective. So you're noticing that the more you draw, the more time-saving tips that you'll find. Maybe this guy does have a pot right inside. Change up the size of your plants. Don't make all your plants the same size, all right? They don't need to be the same size. They don't need to be the same style. Unity plus variety equals design harmony. So you want enough things to make everything look good together, but enough variety for interest. This is going to be wood. This is going to be some nice tile. You can be very exact and go edge to edge, very even, perfect lines like in drafting. Or you can do that professional gap every once in a while to indicate that maybe, hey, a light source is coming down on that nice shiny marble, and maybe that there is a highlight. So that's kind of up to you. Typically, you'll want to think about a threshold. So one material starts and where the next material starts. Usually you want to have that nice break in an opening, and it's usually right there, right in the middle of that threshold. Again, pull away from your marks. So I'm pressing down as I'm pulling away. So next I'll just go through and quickly put in some planking wood. I'll finish this drawing for you and it will be posted, but I'm just going to go through and do the 1 foot for now. And because then I want to go through and show you, then you're going to come back with your heavier weight pen or thicker pen, and we're going to do some punch lines. So you're going to want to come in and do all of your detailing. So if you're going to add some graining and things like that, you'll want to do that now. If you're going to add the pattern, you're going to want to do that. If you're going to do some stippling, you're going to want to do that as well. So this is pretty simple and straightforward. You can get as detailed as you want. You can see examples on the modules of past students' work, and they're just beautiful, where they've gone through and actually added a lot of graining and shadowing. Kind of really, really nice work. And those are from students just like you, who are taking a little more time than your instructor, right, to complete their assignments. So I'm going to quickly go through and put in what will be planks that you can add your graining to and offset or do whatever you want to do. Follow the instructions in those great handouts. So remember, your furniture sets on top of the wood. So we want to make sure that those lines don't go through your furniture, that they stop and start. Again, the material is underneath everything. So that's why I pretty much lay out all my furniture and marker it all in at first, and then do that flooring last, just so I can see everything really nice and clearly and do my starts and stops. And you can do these quick hand-drawn floor plans and elevations early on in the design process. So for example, I was called to design a restaurant on the Scottsdale waterfront project, and it was this really funky, clean, organic kind of mid-century modern design. And so the floor plan had all these different, it almost felt like an octopus, or the concept was to create a sushi restaurant that looked like it was under the sea. And so that would have taken a long time in CAD to sketch out that floor plan for them. So my contractor and I, we created the floor plan first by hand on tracing paper. And then once the project was approved and we got all the funding and everything was ready to go, that's when we went in and then moved to CAD drawings. But to know that, you know, we got $100,000 restaurant from storyboards and drawings like this, you know, is no small thing. So I'm going to have to start and stop, so I'll kind of just let my professional gap be up here when I go and continue on the line. The wood and any material will always go underneath the door swing. So again, I'm using those nice professional breaks just where my straight edge isn't long enough. And it all looks good. So next you're going to go through and add some graining, show the planking, and then your final step will be, you can do a couple things. You can go back in, and if you feel like you want to add more volume, you can go back in and add a little more, you know, depth. To your drawing, you can go in and do that. But you definitely want to go in and want to punch or outline those areas that you want to come forward. So for example, you're going to want this, if this is marble or this is a white countertop, you want that to stand off from the detail of the flooring. So you're going to want to go in and do those punch lines. This is a good time if you see something that's a little crooked, you can straighten those out. So go in and do your punches. So hopefully quickly you're just seeing how this is going to start playing out. You're going to then go around and put a Sharpie over the paper mate, over those walls again, and those are going to stand out really nice and lovely. And come back and see how that ends. I'll make sure I post it with the assignment, how this all turns out when it's done. I hope that this helped you and that you enjoy your first project of actually placing in half-inch scaled furniture into a floor plan. You will use this as an interior designer. You are often given floor plans by the architect or the contractor, where you put a piece of tracing paper over that floor plan and you quickly add in furniture. You're going to often do this right in front of your clients. So you're going to get very quick at this, again, placing a piece of tracing paper over an architectural print and just starting to play around drawing in furniture so that you can start seeing, does everything fit, before you move to professional and often expensive CAD drawings. Thank you. And I will submit this with the exercise so you can see what the project looks like done.